Hello YouTube, once again you got Video Game House here, and today we got the Day 1 Chaos Rising most popular deck, Bees. Yes, everyone knew that the number 1 deck for Day 1 for Chaos Rising was gonna be Bees. And obviously it's already done pretty well in other parts of the world. This is one of the most popular decks as of the format, so it's good to at least go through it to understand what the deck does and how you can play around it if you plan on playing it at all. Obviously, you can either play Bees or against Bees because many decks still out this deck very easily, unfortunately. So the wonderful thing about Bees is Weedle, Kakuna, Beedrill, all grass type Pokemon released while Forest of Vitality is still in play. Obviously, Forest of Vitality, if it's not your first turn, you are able to evolve any grass Pokemon as many times as you want, basically unrestricted. So you're able to just have a Weedle go all the way to a Beedrill in the same turn. Beedrill has a 1 energy attack known as Rumbling Bees, which does 110 damage times the number of Beedrill on the board. It does state Beedrill and Beedrill EX. As of this moment, there is only Beedrill EX, but I assume in the future we're either going to get another Beedrill card and or it's meant for expanded play where you can use Beedrill EX along with other Beedrills of the past to still have Beedrill EX do its maximum damage, which if you have all 4 Beedrills on the field, it'll be a total 440 damage for just 1 grass energy. Where, with a lot of testing, 440 for 1 sounds incredible, and in all honesty, it is. The big issue is getting 4 Beedrills, because you need to allocate 12 cards of your deck for just Beedrill. And for the deck that we are using, we're also allocating 4 more slots, 4 stadiums, so we can get Beedrill on the board quickly. Draw engine including the 3-2 Dunsparce line, which allows you to just shuffle it back into your, draw 3, shuffle it back into your deck, so you can kind of loop that every single turn to get an extra couple of cards. And our backup attacker, Arbovilla, running a 2-2-2 line with its oil salvo attack, which allows you to choose 6 times Pokemon. So you can choose, the same Pokemon 6 times or allocate it all over the place and do 20 damage per ping. Which, if you can use it like twice, really, it's very, very strong, especially if it's like early game and you're able to go first, do nothing, your opponent goes second, they do nothing, and it's back to you, and you're able to go Forest into Arbovilla. It allows you that early game kind of like pressure to spread and weaken damage while Beedrill can deal with the bigger Pokemon whilst holding off. And obviously, if you can't get there, you can still set up Budew, which we do run in the deck, to item lock our opponent if we go second. Budew is still a good stopgap to slow your opponent down, so that way you can get to your next turn to get Forest of Vitality and kind of pop off. Do also run a 1-of Meowth, as like I have said in every one of my videos as of late, it is going to be a 1-of in just about every single deck. The supporters, nothing special. 4 Lilies, 3 Dawn, a Boss's Orders, and Lana's Aid. I do think I personally like 2 Boss's Orders, but the deck is very cramped, so I wouldn't know what to really take out to put in a second Boss's Orders. Lana's, once you have one of your Pokemon, say Beedrill, get knocked out, you can use Lana's to bring back Weedle, Kakuna, Beedrill, and if you have Forest of Vitality still on the board, you can immediately get all 3 pieces back down to make sure that your next Beedrill can still do that extra 110 damage. Obviously, the item cards are also very much the same. That behind me, unfortunately, is getting blocked, but it is supposed to be a 4 count of Buddy-Buddy Poffin, 4 bug catching sets, 3 Poké Pads, 2 Night Stretchers, an Unfair Stamp, and of course, the 4 count Forest of Vitality, like I stated earlier. So, gotta admit, everyone loves to build the most popular deck first day. I personally did not like this deck. I think there are just way better things in the format. I honestly, in a tier list of, say, A, B, and C, and D tier, I'd put it at a fun somewhere between, B and C. It's not like complete garbage, but it's also not going to be top meta. It's fun. It's fun to play it, but it's not great. It's not great. I don't know if it's just me, but I want to be completely honest with my viewers to let you guys know that it may be fun to play a few times, understand the logic behind it because people want to play it on ladder, but it's not great. I can show you what it can do, but this is just my 2 cents. Let's get into some gameplay and I'll show you what I mean. All right, just a disclaimer as per our usual. This is a little bit different. We were able to get gameplay on ladder, of course, as our usual gameplay footage. But we also did get gameplay footage between myself and Sunny and myself and Rotom from the other videos where we actually did a conquest challenge against both of them. So if you guys want to see those videos, they are also already live. So feel free to go check those out. But this is to show off how the deck works one way or another. Like I did say, I wasn't a huge fan of Beedrill. Like, I understand how it can work. I understand it's strong enough. It's able to hit really hard. It's got a secondary attacker that allows you to kind of put pressure on for early games, set up damage for late games. So it makes sense. I didn't personally like it because of how many pieces you need to actually make the deck work. And you also have to pay attention to how many Weedles do you have, how many Kakunas, how many Beedrills, how effective is it to try and go for certain strategies to make sure you can get a certain amount of damage to go off. The deck likes to go first because obviously you run Forest of Vitality, so that way you go first and your turn is a big nothing burger. Your turn 2 can be Forest of Vitality and evolve all of the things. So, as you see here, we set up with double Buddy-Buddy Poffin, just something that can happen. We also do run Lilies, so we can kind of fix those plays too. Into the double Dunsparce to draw up to positive 6 cards per turn. So we're just trying to get as many pieces as we can get out because we only need one Beedrill in order to take on Dreepy, which is because it's just that easy to get Forest of Vitality into Beedrill. We're looking for all the pieces that we can finally get, and as you can see there, we were able to find our Beedrill using bug catching set. 2 bug catching sets. It's just that easy to set up the card, set up the deck because 9 times out of 10, bug catching set will hit 2 things. You got 6 cards for Arbovilla's line, you got 12 cards for the Beedrill line, you got 5 energies. You know, that's well more than a third of the deck in just grass-type cards that you can pick up using specifically just bug-catching set. We also run Poké Pad to help us get, you know, the middle evolutions or the basics and such of Weedle and Arbovilla. And Dawn to get our +3. We're able to get, you know, pieces to set up future turns for more Dunsparce if we get red carded, if we get unfair stamped, if we get judged, all those things we're able to fix. I believe I do miss a turn here where I think I could have used the bug catching set and gotten the Smoliv and evolved it into all the way to Arbovilla, but I missed it, but it didn't make too much of a difference in that instance. This is our second match where we were on the receiving end. Over there is Sunny, where he played the Beedrill list in our conquest match. Now, and you can tell by me being live on stream was the guy behind me, is me. Now, he was able to show off a little bit more of what the deck can do even in a bad matchup, because Steel is realistically a bad matchup. Now, this deck isn't set up for the Conquest match, so I realized I could have had better cards in here because the Conquest was about using Chaos Rising Pokemon, and there was no Terra Pokemon that can go with with Chaos Rising Pokemon really all that well, so I didn't really need to put in cards like Regigigas and Shaman, but I built the deck more about playing it through the ladder, but it's whatever. But as you guys saw, Sunny went first, set up 2 Weedles, 2 Dunsparces, and he's just gonna start cooking. You know, just doing the same thing I did, playing every single card. Another Buddy-Buddy for another Weedle and a Dunsparce. Got the Forest of Vitality on the board. He already found 1 Kakuna to evolve as active. Finds a Beedrill with his Ultra Ball. Boom, Beedrill's on the board and ready to run. We draw 3 more. We go Poké Pad. We get another piece so we can evolve again into a draw 3 again. Now we're +6. We got Kakuna. We got another Beedrill. We're hitting 220. Genesect does have a resistance of 30, so he's actually still looking for more cards because he knows he needs a little bit more damage in order to remove Genesect. Doesn't quite get there. So I'm just able to go Metallic Signal and just keep trying and figure out what I can do to beat this Beedrill, because Beedrill with 310 HP, not great. We need so much just to deal with it. Heatran needs 7 energies because it does 50 damage times the amount of energy you discard off him. You could do 6 and potentially get knocked out, which does end up doing a +2 burn damage because Heatran has that ability. If it gets knocked out, your opponent gets burned. So you can set that up as a single prize attacker in the Metang list. We were trying to remove and change as much as we can. We use Team Rockets in order to get more cards, because we did play Petrol. And we're just going to go Protect Charge to weaken our Beedrill, so that way we are able to still use Heatran for an attacker. But this Beedrill is relentless. 310 is not easy to get to when he suddenly goes from a 50 HP Weedle to an 100 and, to a 310 HP Beedrill with 1 at energy 330. With the third Beedrill put down, he can just one-shot everything, and it's very difficult for me to be able to counter that one-shot, especially because, obviously, Beedrill, having 310 HP, our Metagross list is meant to set up 4 energy, discard 3 to do 300 damage, so we don't even one-shot a Beedrill in this instance, so it does kind of suck. We do get that knockout, leaving our Heatran here, very vulnerable, but we thought about this slightly ahead, where if Heatran gets hit, our opponent gets burned, they go to 290, then we can hit for 300 for a knockout, but we are just stunted so hard by the Unfair Stamp. So when you have 4 Lilies and Unfair Stamp in the deck, and your opponent isn't playing around it, you get punished pretty hard. We didn't give up, even though we absolutely should have here, because there was nothing left that we could do. If I got, I got Ultra Ball, cool. If I can get a setup card or draw power, maybe we can do something, but we got this. I was hesitant, because I'm like, I can go Meowth and try and run it, or I can go Metagross, guarantee the hit and get the knockout, but, like, in doing so, like, what do I do after that? Like, if my prizes aren't, like, my one Lillie that I know is prized, then, like, I just kind of lose, and unfortunately with these draws, we got nothing. We needed to top deck so bad to try and even play the game at this point, but it's just Beedrill takes out Metagross, and I just fold under the pressure. So we do just jump to the next game, where now we're up against Sunny with our own Beedrill list, and this is how we started out and actually get to try and play it. Once again, Beedrill to me was incredibly mid. It's very overwhelming, and it's probably one of the best decks of Chaos Rising, but that unfortunately is not saying much. Although Sunny did bring a very curious list that I think I'm going to try and build out myself. This being Cinccino Metal Maker attack deck. I don't really know what I want to call it. I think what we dubbed it was Metal Mouse, where you can use Metal Maker to get extra energies from your deck and put them on your Pokemon in any way you like. Cinccino does 40 damage times the amount of energy that's on that Pokemon. And then he's able to have a attack or an ability that says whenever this Pokemon were to take damage, you have to flip a coin, and if heads, ignore the damage. So now he's obviously setting himself up. He's got Minccino, he's got Cinccino. He needs to retreat with the Genesect or just swing with it. So realistically, he's just setting up his Cinccino and his Genesect to retreat. Since he only needed 2 energies here, he's just setting up more Cinccino energy to do more damage. Now, the reason that I used this match is because it does show off the resiliency of what Beedrill can do in order to even make a comeback from a bad situation. We are going to use Lilies here. We got rid of a lot of stuff that we could definitely use. We're trying to go for evolutions. We're trying to go for ability plays, and it's just, we're not finding anything. We try getting rid of Arbovilla. We assume we just don't really need it all that much. We have a Kakuna. We got Forest on the board, so we can try. We're just looking for as many pieces as we can get. So we got a Beedrill. So we got 110 damage right there, but we're going to need a little bit more help in order to get to where we want to go. We're just trying so hard because we can get there. We know we can get there, but we have to keep pushing. We hit our own Unfair Stamp, putting him down to 2 cards. We go for the +3. We got another Kakuna. We're going. We got it. All right, another Kakuna, and Weedle's right there. All right, so we just need a couple of Beedrills, right? So, all right, there's a Beedrill. Very good. All right, and then we hit Night Stretcher to get the last Beedrill that we threw away using that Ultra Ball, and we got there to 330. Now, Cinccino does have that ability, so it is not a guaranteed hit, which does kind of suck. But we did hit the coin flip, did hit 330 damage, and I wanted to show off that the fact that this turn started so miserably, but with just a very few cards, I think it was just Lilies and Unfair Stamp, we were able to get a bunch of resources with bug catching set, with all the different search options we had. Like a Meowth just got me a Lillie so we can actually at least play the game. And all of that just kind of clicked. You know, we were able to hit everything. The unfortunate part about this is moving forward, it all goes downhill from there. We have the Beedrill set up, which is cool. Cincino, unfortunately, just as it gains more energy, it does more damage. So if it survives one hit, you're in danger. We got a Kakuna. We got another Beedrill set up, so we got everything we need. I used this Lana's, I think, a little early. I should have let the Beedrill get knocked out here. I just started setting up an Arbovilla to try and poke bench, but it doesn't really do anything. So at the end, I was like, okay, if we hit this Beedrill, we win the game. I could have held that Lana, waited for him to knock out my Beedrill, and then brought up a new Beedrill. Since my Beedrill was damaged, we were trying to not let it get knocked out by an easy Cincino hit. So we reset it to retreat for one, bring up the other one, and hopefully still push. He sets up 6. 6 by 4 is 240, so he can't knock me out, and he obviously gets boss's orders. Takes out my Beedrill because he wants to stay on par with taking a knockout every single turn. And by losing a Beedrill, I obviously am weakened by a significant amount. Since now I can't do the extra 100 in damage, I'm only doing 220, and Cincino having 240, what am I going to do? Hit Lilies. We're trying to find a way to potentially get more Beedrill, not finding it. We can weaken Cincino here, but we're, like, trying to, like, hope that he can't get a KO on us, so we take out a Metang. Things are not going in my general direction here. Obviously, I'm at 3 prizes, and my opponent's at 3 prizes. Honestly, not the best idea when you can just put 6 on each of them, let's say, because you can just do 3 and 3. And that way, if you do it again, you can take out both the Metang instead of just taking out 1, putting yourself at 3, giving your opponent a Fez. I just was not thinking in my right mind because I wasn't sure what I was going to have to do. I also wouldn't know how Cincino triggered if I just put all 12 damage counters on Cincino, or if, you know, if you had to flip 6 coins to make the damage work. Using the Metang, he gets to 8 energy on Cincino, 8 by 4 being 320. Now able to take things out because I missed 1 attack, and I gave him 2 turns because I used Arbovilla. I have to just believe that I can get an answer to get a 3rd Beedrill on the board to play the game. So in using Dawn, not really finding much of anything. We go run away, we find our Night Stretcher, and we go for the 50% chance one more time. Do we believe? Hey, he flips the tails, I get the knockout. So in this board state, yes, we actually did win here, per se. I was, again, just not really thinking about it because I did put down both of those Dunsparces that turn. If I didn't, his boss's orders wouldn't affect anything. Could he still have had a red card or a hand disruption? Sure, and it could have put me in a bad position. But I think we could have won that game if we just thought about the fact that he has a Genesect set up, and I should not be putting down Dunsparce because it's not going to help me any further in the game, and he only has 1 prize to take to win the game. So that was just on me. But we could have won with that game. So Beedrill, to me, like I said, can be very strong. You can loop 100 cards in a single turn just to get out a Beedrill or multiple Beedrills to do enough damage to get your knockouts that you're looking for. But again, with the amount of stuff you need to run just to make the deck work, it just doesn't feel as good as something else. When you're just running 4 Weedles, 4 Kakunas, and 4 Beedrill, where if any 2 of those pieces gets prized, you know, you get 2 prized Weedles, you get 2 prized Kakuna, you get 2 prized Beedrill, suddenly your Beedrill is just dead. And I understand, yes, you can get prizes regardless and still try and get them from the prize pool, but it doesn't matter. Your max damage is 220 if any 2 of those pieces gets prized. Arbovilla is not saving you. The best Arbovilla does is if you went first and you can get Arbovilla on the board, you are able to clear or weaken a few Pokemon in order to set up your damage for the future with your Beedrills. Things like Froakie, right? If you can take a knockout on 1, but you can't take a knockout on 2, Mega Greninja goes to 350. So if you can do 330 with Beedrill, just put 1 damage counter. on each of their Froakies because they have 70 HP. You just drop them both down to 50, or if they put down 3, you put them all to 50. That way, if they Mega Evolve, you can still do 330 and take it out. You just have to think ahead as to what you need to do with Arbovilla in order to make your Beedrills do more for you, realistically. Anyway, long story short, I don't think the deck will ever be winning any big events or topping anything. Will it be fun to play? Sure. Do I think you can give it a shot? Absolutely. But don't put too much into it. You know, don't go crazy with full rarity it, bring it to a regional. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're just gonna have a bad time. There are better decks out there. But I hope you guys got a good idea, and I appreciate you guys watching my video over all the other 3,000 people playing Beedrill right now. I'll catch you guys in the next video.